Good morning. So last night I spoke at a school board meeting for the first time. It was actually my first time at any board meeting for our school district. They were discussing the current very loose phone policy in our schools. I'm going to share a video of my speech with you. I completely rushed it. I didn't realize until the moment before that I was going to have a 3-minute timer. My speech was not just 3 minutes. Luckily, they allowed me to continue past the timer, but serious pressure. I've put this speech template in my Instagram bio if you want to copy it or use it for your school or your district. It includes tons of great research as to why our kids should not have their phones on them during the school day. And if you're interested in this topic, please look up the Phone Free Schools movement. They created a phone-free toolkit for schools. It has so much good research included. Be sure to access that. And now I'm going to cut to my clip of me speaking to my school board.
Thank you. Thank you. So my name is Nikki Reesberg. I have 2 kids at soon to be 3. I also work as a professional digital safety advocate. I educate parents. I work on online safety legislation on the state and federal level. Kids Online Safety Act just passed the Senate today, so we should all be excited about that. Through my work, I've engaged with thousands of parents and personally interviewed several dozen teachers and school administrators about screens at school. The goal of these conversations was to find out if screens at school are helping or harming our students and to find the right balance. I'm here today to fully support the removal of phone access from our kids during the school day, a policy which has been echoed by every teacher and administrator that I have interviewed. I'm about to throw a few stats at you. I can follow up with sources. So Common Sense Media reports that 97% of kids use phones during school, an average of 43 minutes a day. They're always on social media or YouTube or gaming primarily, and they get over 230 notifications every single day. Teachers cannot compete with the addictive supercomputer in our children's pocket. And given the choice, is our child going to keep their eyes up and listen to a lesson? Or are they going to respond to endless notifications vibrating in their pockets from apps that are built to be addictive to children? A recent study proved that the mere presence of one's smartphone reduces available cognitive capacity. Teens everywhere are struggling with social media addiction that starts and ends with access to the smartphone. Teens spend nearly 5 hours a day on social media apps, and the U.S. Surgeon General put out an advisory last year stating very clearly that 3 or more hours a day on social media doubles the risk of poor mental health, including depression and anxiety. And a Science Direct study found that each additional hour of screen time directly increases the odds of suicidal behaviors, and the CDC reported that 10% of high school students made a suicide attempt within the last year. Removing our children's access to social media through their smartphones entirely during the school day will improve mental health outcomes, creating happier children and children who are unburdened and ready to learn. When kids have smartphones at school, it's not only social media access that's the problem. They don't have the opportunity to be bored. A neuroscientist I recently interviewed shared with me that boredom is the fertilizer for creativity. Forcing our students to sit in boredom, use their imaginations, talk to fellow students, all help establish important brain connectivity and soft skills that they will use their entire lifetime. In fact, without access to phones, kids absorb more of their lessons. A recent study showed that students not using their phones during class wrote down 62% more information. Kids with smartphones at school use them to cheat. We know this. 35% of teens admit to using their cell phone to cheat during school. Kids are using smartphones to cyberbully both students and teachers. And bullying these days is quiet, it's anonymous, it's happening on social media during the school day and causes extreme distress among everyone. Schools that enacted smartphone bans have experienced a 45% reduction in bullying. And when kids are allowed smartphones at school, they're accessing inappropriate content like pornography. 1/3 of all teens report that they have been exposed to pornography during the school day. For these reasons and many more, I encourage the school board to implement a complete bell-to-bell phone ban at all schools in the district. This will result in less distractions, less cyberbullying, fewer fights and drama, increased engagement, improved academic outcomes, less cheating, less stress, and improved teacher morale and retention. Teachers are tired of being the phone police, and we can't leave it up to them to enforce. And this is where I'm going to push for maybe an expanded policy, maybe not today, but in the future. Schools are most successful when they lock up phones in pouches or containers that are inaccessible from bell to bell, but can still be kept physically on the student. One company that makes these is called Yonder. They offer resources to schools and implementation support. Other schools are using phone lockers located in the main office, which can be monitored by staff. Consequences: if the phone is found on a student's person, needs to be strict in order for the policy to be effective. In addition to phones, we must include AirPods, earbuds, and smartwatches with our medical exceptions. A bell-to-bell phone-free policy provides students with 7 to 8 hours each day to be fully present and free from pressures and harms of phones and social media, and it's a true investment into the health of our children. I'm aware that pushback on phone policies is often coming from parents who want to get a hold of their children during the school day. Those schools who have implemented this policy have reported that parents and students are overwhelmingly supportive, especially when communication of the benefits is clear throughout the entire process. So as a parent, I want to be involved or assist in some way in communication with parents to make sure that they are buying in. This will only be successful if parents, teachers, and administrators all come together to support a policy that best prepares these children to lead happy, successful, and productive lives. I'm almost done. And for that, we need to remove phones, give them the opportunity to focus on their studies, on connecting with peers, and on connecting with themselves. So thank you for prioritizing this important conversation.
No, thank you so much.
So that was that. I'm happy to report that the board passed a stricter phone policy. It's not perfect because kids are still allowed to have their phones on them. And actually, in our state of California, Governor Newsom's most recent law states that students must be able to access their phones in case of an emergency or in response to a perceived threat of danger. This makes it really hard, really impossible to properly lock up a student's phone all day. So we have some work to do, and I encourage you to speak up at your schools and make sure that your phone policy for your kids is as strict as possible.